Bernie Goldberg is a guy who has said many questionable things in the past on Fox News, and he is deeply conservative. There's no question about that. But he was actually, for a brief, shining moment on Fox News, open-minded. You didn't think it could happen, but it happened. Fair and Balanced broke out on Fox News. The only problem was it broke out all over Sean Hannity's head. Goldberg delivering an elbow from the sky and serving him, hey, what is this? Oh, look at this. It's a tall glass of shut-up juice. Let's check it out.
Bernie, it's interesting. I noticed this right out of the box, and that was that they were very non-committal, and then as soon as the success came in, according to reports, it was Rahm Emanuel racing to take credit, which is the opposite of the way Captain Phillips handled it. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I think it was smart for the president not to say anything while the hostage was being held. If, God forbid, something happened to the captain, that would lessen the stature of the president. And if, God forbid, the president said something provocative and they killed the captain, there'd be a lot of critics blaming Barack Obama for that. But there's another issue that troubles me about this, Sean, and it troubles me a lot. You remember when liberals wouldn't give George Bush credit for anything? If he came up with a cure for cancer, they wouldn't have given him credit for that. And I'm sorry, Sean, I see that on the right now. It's like, I don't want to put Barack Obama on Mount Rushmore for simply being the commander-in-chief, but we have to stop going out of our way to find fault with every single thing he does. Look, I think I've got a little credibility in this issue. I don't like his economic policies. I don't like his tax policies. I wrote that book, A Slobbering Love Affair, about how the media slobbered all over him, but I'm just not going to be like the left was with George Bush and criticize everything he does.
I don't want you to misunderstand, but there's an important point here. I think there was very different. There was an orchestrated effort for them to go out there and take credit for this. And that's according to reports. In other words, they wanted the credit. I think you're right. I think he should have stayed silent. But what we've now discovered is, according to the Politico, is that, in fact, he was legally required to sign on to this. There was no great decision here, in other words. So I'm seeing the media praise him or overly praise him for something he legally was told by his team he had to do. So the slobbering love affair continues, in other words.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. But, Sean, let me ask you, were you shocked when you found out that they were gambling in the back room at Rick's Cafe? I mean, of course the media is going to bend over backwards and see things in the best light for the person that they wanted to be president. I'm not surprised by that. All I'm saying is, I'll criticize the media, but what I'm saying is the right has to stop behaving like the left used to behave with George Bush.
You have to show me where, I guess, by definition, if I'm discovering here that legally he had to do it, and his PR team, led by Rahm Emanuel, are out there, grabbing credit when the captain is saying, I'm just a byline in this story. I'm saying, wait a minute, there seems to me to be something wrong, and that whole story is not being told. Look, he didn't stop it because he couldn't stop it, apparently, Bernie. So where does he get the credit here?
Well, he gets, if you want to use the word credit, I'll use that word.
They're grabbing
he gets the credit because he was the commander-in-chief. It happened on his watch. That's the way it goes in the real world of politics. If something bad happened here, and thank God it didn't.
Thank God.
But if something bad happened here, I guarantee you, I'll tell you who would have been leading the crusade against him. You. And you may have been right. You may have been right. If something bad happened, you may have said, this is because he's seen as soft, and they took advantage of him. Maybe you might have been right if that happened, but it didn't. Something did happen. Look, Sean, that's right, but the good guy is alive and well.
I agree.
The bad guys are dead. That's all good. It happened on Barack Obama's watch. I'm not. If you want to use the word, he gets the credit.
All right.
Good guys alive, the bad guys are dead. So why don't you shut up already, Hannity? Okay. I mean, look, he's right. Hannity's argument is, if something goes wrong, I tell you screwed it up. If something goes right, oh, he's trying to grab credit. And by the way, what was Obama supposed to do? It's just like, he didn't do a press conference. He didn't do like George Bush, land on an aircraft carrier and unfurl a huge mission accomplished sign when it wasn't even accomplished. He didn't do a press conference. He didn't do anything. What was he supposed to do? If somebody asked him a question, be like, no comment, no comment. In fact, nobody's even asked him the question, and he hasn't even said anything. All they did was, at some point, they said, yes, thank God the captain is free, and the military and the Navy SEALs did an unbelievable job. How is that grabbing credit? All right, so then, before we go off this, you have to understand, Hannity absolutely either lied or got it wrong about the story, where he said Obama was legally required to give the shoot order anyway. That is absolutely, positively not true, according to, first of all, reality. Second of all, the admiral on the scene. Third of all, Defense Secretary Robert Gates. No, the political article that Hannity quoted said the exact opposite. They said they could not shoot without getting the order from Barack Obama. That it was the president's decision because of the situation, because it was not already part of combat that they were engaged in, whether it's Afghanistan or Iraq or the so-called war on terrorism, etc., that they had to get a specific order from the commander-in-chief to shoot, and he did give that order on 2 separate occasions, on Friday night and on Saturday morning. Now, I don't think he should get a ton of credit for giving that order. I think that order was fairly obvious, if you ask me. But to say that he grabbed credit is absurd. To say that he was legally required to give that order is flat out wrong. And then finally, I love that Bernie Goldberg was actually open-minded for a change and said the right things and said it to Hannity's face. But I can't let him get away with the thing that he said, oh, look, the left hated everything Bush did, and we don't want to be like the left. Man, we went out of our way and bent over backwards to try to find something Bush did right. Whether it was the deal with North Korea, whether it was the deal with Libya, whether it was the immigration proposal. I scurried the pages. In fact, the Young Turks found the Anbar awakening strategy before any of the rest of the press did, and they said, that makes sense, and they're going in the right direction there. So the idea that the left does not pay attention to what the reality is and that somehow we hated George Bush and hence hated everything he did is absurd. You know why they do it? It's the projection. That's what they feel about Democrats, so they think, well, the Democrats must feel the same way, that they hate us and that they're going to hate everything we do because of it.